Kong can't stop this on his own.
He won't be alone.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most exciting and entertaining Godzilla team-ups. Beware of minor spoilers ahead about these awesome alliances. Number 10, Godzilla and Rodan unite against Monster Zero, Invasion of Astro Monster. A group of extraterrestrials known as Exilians claimed that Monster Zero was too much for them to handle alone.
King Ghidorah was driven from Earth, but only by the combined strength of Godzilla and Rodan. Will you help us?
Desperate for help, the aliens politely asked humanity if they could take Godzilla and Rodan into space to take on their monster. Once the Earth agreed, the two kaiju were unwillingly beamed up for a wickedly cool collaboration.
Look, gentlemen, we are watching an historical battle. Monster Zero has met his match today.
Godzilla admittedly does most of the work in the first fight. However, Rodan really steps up in the second clash against Monster Zero by using its skills for solo attacks and timely assists. Both clashes are full of hilariously over-the-top action and great teamwork. Although Godzilla and Rodan never agreed to be partners, they still worked extremely well together.
A happy moment. The first time we've been able to drive away that Monster Zero and not suffer any damage or loss of life.
Number 9, a more phenomenal crossover. Godzilla vs. the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. These superpowered teenagers with attitude had tons of experience using Megazords to fight giant monsters.
Send this guy back where he came from!
But they still weren't prepared to face Godzilla when they ended up in his dimension. Initially, the kaiju and the Rangers nearly fought to the death. However, everything changed when the evil Rita sent in a group of her big monsters.
Magic One! Make my Godzilla grow!
The resourceful team of Rangers quickly decided to make a hasty alliance with Godzilla in order to survive. It was amazing to see the kaiju working side by side with our childhood icons. And as a hilarious twist, Godzilla immediately tried to exterminate the Rangers once they defeated every other enemy. We're willing to bet that the teens were happy to go back to fighting their own monsters after this crossover.
This isn't over. I'll be back.
Number 8, Mothra's last-minute assist. Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
So her and Godzilla, they got a thing going on? That's kind of messed up, right?
Symbiotic relationships between two different species aren't all that uncommon.
Although Mothra is introduced fairly early on into the first MonsterVerse sequel, she stays out of most of the fights. But when Godzilla takes on King Ghidorah for the third time, the Queen of the Monsters suddenly swoops in to help. The duo's combined talents instantly put the powerful Monster Zero on its back. Unfortunately, they don't get to fight side by side long because Rodan cuts in and severely injures Mothra. The Queen ultimately decides to lay down her life to give Godzilla the boost it needs to win. Although the King's partnership with Mothra was short, it still left a big impact. The Queen's efforts made Godzilla's victory and a bunch of MonsterVerse sequels possible. Number 7, Godzilla backs a superhero up. Zone Fighter. Godzilla has historically had trouble getting along with aliens. However, the King of the Monsters had an incredibly fruitful alliance with the extraterrestrial hero, Zone Fighter. Throughout the short-lived series, Godzilla and the alien protagonist teamed up for numerous battles. The creative fight choreography made each brawl feel fresh. And since the show was free to use both new monsters and old Godzilla foes, we never knew what creature might come roaring in next. It all ultimately worked because the King of Monsters and Zone Fighter made for a tight and believable team. We'd love to get a modern reboot that gives us more of this criminally underrated duo. Number 6. Godzilla makes a royal alliance. Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla. Shortly after a robotic alien kaiju landed on Earth, it severely wounded the king of the monsters. After Godzilla recharged itself with actual lightning, it returned for a rematch against MechaGodzilla. But this time around, the heroic kaiju accepted help from the ancient King Caesar.
古代人が予言したもう一頭の怪獣はゴジラだったのね。
What made this team up so fun to watch was the fact that the good kaijus were completely outmatched. Every time they got an edge, MechaGodzilla whipped out a new weapon that kept them at bay. Although victory seemed impossible, the heroic duo managed to dig deep and hold the robot down long enough to knock off its head. Their narrow win felt immensely satisfying because they came so close to losing it all.
信じられん。あれほど成功に作ったメカゴジラが負けるとは。
Number 5. Angiras and Godzilla defeat a monstrous duo. Godzilla vs. Gigan.
ゴジラが現れましたね。ゴジラの出てくることは計画に入っている。この塔までおびき出せば、こっちで始末をつけてやる。
If you're a kaiju that wants to rampage across Earth, you better have approval from the King of Monsters. Gigan and Ghidorah learned that the hard way in 1972. Before the twisted twosome could wreak havoc, Godzilla led his friend Angiras into a tremendous battle. The massive melee was so lengthy that it required multiple location changes and nearly 20 minutes of total screen time. Both Godzilla and Angiras are also pushed to their absolute breaking points against their tremendously powerful opponents. In the end, the two heroic kaiju turned things around by communicating and coordinating their attacks. Together, Godzilla and Angiras ultimately proved that raw power alone can't beat good old-fashioned teamwork. Number 4. Joining up with Jet Jaguar. Godzilla vs. Megalon.
先輩、ゴジラと連絡ついたら聞いてみたら OK。
An impressive robot named Jet Jaguar was prepared to take down the villainous Megalon alone. But it got wrecked after the sinister kaiju teamed up with the vicious Gigan. Fortunately, Godzilla came roaring in to help Jet Jaguar out. The Big G was so pumped up when he arrived that he took on the two evil creatures solo. As awesome as it was to see Godzilla go at it alone, the battle got better when Jet Jaguar jumped back in. The heroes easily overwhelmed their opponents with insane combo attacks. Their alliance also led to the infamous scene where Godzilla executes an absurd flying kick. Thanks to Jet Jaguar, we got a great team-up battle and an excellent meme. Number 3. Godzilla allies with Mothra and Rodan. Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
ゴジラとラドンとモスラと力を合わせることです。みんなで力を合わせればキングギドラに勝てるかもしれません。
It was a miracle that the first official hero team-up in the long-running monster franchise even happened. The Godzilla that appeared in 1964's Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, did not play well with others. In fact, the king was fully prepared to kill his rival Rodan. However, Mothra is able to convince the warring monsters that they should all team up against Ghidorah. The three heroes initially have trouble working in sync, but after a while, they find a natural rhythm that proves to be too much for Ghidorah to handle. After this triple threat team successfully stopped Monster Zero, Godzilla kept making new friends. We might not have so many team-ups to talk about if it wasn't for this unlikely trio. Number 2. Everyone is here. Destroy all monsters. Anyone who says Avengers Infinity War was the most ambitious crossover of all time has clearly never seen this kaiju mashup movie. In Destroy All Monsters, Toho brought its most popular creatures together for a movie where they lived in peace and harmony. Just kidding. Due to an evil plot, virtually every kaiju on Earth is forced to work together to fight Ghidorah. Each monster gets time to shine throughout the big battle. And although Ghidorah is grossly outnumbered, it never backs down. By the time this movie debuted, we were used to watching Godzilla face off against legions of enemies at once. That's why it was such a nice change of pace to see him triumph with the friends he made along the way.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Conquering Foes with King Kong. Monsterverse franchise. After Godzilla beat Kong for the second time in their 2021 crossover movie, we expected the credits to roll. But that was before MechaGodzilla burst onto the scene to challenge the king of the monsters. Although Kong wasn't Godzilla's biggest fan, the big primate helped defeat the Metal Menace. It was exhilarating to see two of the world's most famous monsters work together. The tense battle kept us on our toes by having both creatures come inches away from death. And like any great team-up, Kong and Godzilla decimate their opponents with an incredible combo. After audiences responded well to the duo, they were immediately put back together for a direct sequel. Kong and Godzilla truly feel like a winning team. Who would you like to see Godzilla team up with next? Let us know in those comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.